Well, thanks for watching our internet edition of Nightline. Today, the voice of a killer, the Virginia Tech gunman's manifesto of pictures and videos and letters. It's just a terrifying and extraordinary collection of documents set to arrive after he knew he'd be gone. Now, the message is sometimes rambling. He's quite clearly laying out the motives here for the massacre. But though those words and pictures answer some questions, they also raise many more. Here's Nightline's John Donvan.
Terry, the place is open now because it's run 24 hours a day for people to come by and pick up their mail from post office boxes. But the main section, that's closed now, and that is where, incredibly, as you put it, having killed 2 people and about to kill more, Mr. Cho chose to come here and make that mailing to NBC. He must have stood at one of these counters here. We know that the postal clerk took it in and recorded the time of mailing as precisely 9:01 a.m. Seung Hui Cho. Now we can put a face to the face. 43 photographs came in that package he mailed to NBC in the midst of murdering on Monday. He smiled in 2 of them, but not in the others. Far from it. And then there was the videotape, 10 minutes of it, in which he oddly spoke in the past tense about killing that was yet to come.
You had 100 billion chances in the ways to have avoided today, but you decided to spill my blood. You forced me into a corner and gave me only one option. The decision was yours. Now you have blood on your hands that will never wash off.
And as 2 newsmen worked through this on NBC tonight, what struck them was how organized Cho had been.
This is the manifesto, by the way, and it goes on. There's a close-up of a knife. There are pictures of hollow point bullets, an almost artistic photo of them. Goes on like this for pages. I have yellow posted on here because he mentions martyrs like Eric and Dylan, the names of the Columbine gunmen.
Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, the 2 high school students who killed at Columbine High.
All of our suite mates, we were together on Monday night when the police were here. We were talking about anything we heard or saw, and none of us came up with anything out of the ordinary.
But what struck Karan Grul this evening, just after watching the news, he had been assigned to a room in the same dorm suite as Cho, was the simple fact that Cho made eye contact with the camera.
I could have fled. But no.
Something Grul says Cho almost never did the few times they actually spoke to one another.
I've never seen him like that with cap turned up, backside front, with those kinds of clothes even.
So it was an expression on his face that you did not recognize
at all,
from knowing him?
No, he looked pretty confident in that picture, and most of the times I saw him, it was a blank look.
This is his world. You know, by making this videotape, sending pictures, writing a multi-page document, that he's basically in complete control. He doesn't have to deal with any of us. He's not talking to anybody. It's him just getting it out to us. And so there is nobody to stop him or control him or make him feel bad.
And in his world, it seems, everyone was to blame for Cho's problems but himself.
You have vandalized my heart, raped my soul, and torched my conscience. You thought it was one pathetic boy's life you were extinguishing. Thanks to you, I die, like Jesus Christ, to inspire generations of the weak and the defenseless people.
He mentions Christ, but NBC reports that in a statement he included with the pictures that runs to 1,800 words, he rants about Christianity and hedonism.
You had everything you wanted. Your Mercedes wasn't enough, you brats. Your golden necklaces weren't enough, you snobs. Your trust fund wasn't enough. Your vodka and cognac weren't enough. All your debaucheries weren't enough. Those weren't enough to fulfill your hedonistic needs. You had everything.
Whether that diatribe was aimed at his fellow students is not clear, but on Monday it was his fellow students he set out to punish. The first shooting here just after 7 in the morning, and then remarkably he went to this post office to mail his package to NBC, which suggests that he may have returned to his dorm that morning before going on to the second round of killing.
You would have been there behind your closed door, I'm assuming, when he came through the suite and picked up that stuff? And
yeah, if that's true, my door's closed, but I usually never lock my door. It's usually open for anybody to come in and knock. So that's definitely a scary feeling. But
really scary feeling.
I did not hear anything out of the ordinary. If he came in, he probably was really quiet.
We know we are, in effect, airing the words of a murderer here tonight.
Indeed, yes. A murderer who, it appears, began work on this presentation at least 6 days before he put his plan into effect. A plan to kill and a plan to die.
And you look at that photo and you return to the mundane details of a guy coming to a post office and they seem almost absurd. And absurd would be the fact that he actually had trouble with the address. You look at the mailing envelope that showed up at NBC and he had crossed out the zip code a bunch of times to get it right. If he'd gotten it right, maybe that package would have arrived the day after the killings rather than now, and all of this story would have broken yesterday. But it's happened today, just another one of the strange twists, as you put it, Terry, to this whole thing.
John, the mention of the Columbine killers by Cho, you covered Columbine. As you see what Cho had to say, do you see parallels between him and the kids at Columbine?
Yes, Terry, I do, in the sense that they both had a grudge and felt that they were isolated, picked on, and that the world was against them. Very much an overlap in that sense between those two sets of killers.
All right, John Donvan in the Blacksburg Post Office tonight. Thanks very much. The voice of a killer. Tonight on Nightline, we'll have the latest up-to-date reports on the Virginia Tech shootings. But that's today's internet edition of Nightline. Thanks for downloading us. I'm Terry Moran. For Martin Bashir, Cynthia McFadden, and all of us at ABC News, all the best for the rest of your day.